The Los Angeles Lakers are staring down the barrel of a decision that could either validate their aggressive championship pursuit or expose them as a franchise willing to mortgage tomorrow for today's uncertain promises. Walker Kessler has emerged as the shiny object of their desires, a rim-protecting unicorn who could theoretically solve their interior defense woes with the swat of his long arms and the intimidation factor of his towering presence. But here's where this story gets absolutely delicious in its complexity. Utah wants to be paid like they're trading away the next Hakeem Olajuwon, while the Lakers are trying to convince themselves that overpaying for potential is somehow a championship strategy. The asking price of multiple first-round picks for a player who can't create his own shot and has never been the primary option on any team represents exactly the kind of franchise-altering gamble that either creates championship folklore or cautionary tales. The irony dripping from this situation is almost too perfect to ignore. Los Angeles just signed Deandre Ayton, another former number 1 overall pick, who was supposed to revolutionize interior defense, only to immediately start shopping for his replacement before he's even had a chance to prove his worth. It's like buying a new car and immediately browsing the dealership lot for something better while the engine's still warm. Walker Kessler's statistical profile reads like a defensive coordinator's fever dream brought to life on a basketball court. Finishing second in the NBA for blocks per game last season, trailing only the otherworldly Victor Wembanyama, represents the kind of elite rim protection that transforms entire defensive schemes and makes opposing coaches lose sleep over their offensive game plans. The 23-year-old center has carved out a reputation as one of the league's most disruptive interior presences, averaging 2.4 blocks per game while shooting an impressive 66.3% from the field. Those numbers tell the story of a player who understands his role perfectly: protect the rim, finish efficiently around the basket, and let his defensive instincts do the talking when games get tight and possessions become precious. What makes Kessler particularly appealing to championship-caliber teams is his age and trajectory combination. At 23, he's young enough to improve significantly while already possessing the kind of defensive fundamentals that typically take years to develop. His shot blocking isn't just about athletic ability. It's rooted in positioning, timing, and basketball IQ that suggests sustained excellence rather than flash-in-the-pan production. The defensive impact extends far beyond individual statistics, though those certainly paint an impressive picture. Kessler's mere presence in the paint forces offensive players to alter their shots, avoid driving lanes they'd normally attack, and settle for more difficult attempts throughout possessions. That kind of invisible influence on opposing offense represents exactly what contending teams need during playoff basketball's suffocating intensity. The Jazz's decision not to offer Kessler a rookie-scale extension this season represents a calculated gamble that reveals their long-term thinking about franchise construction and asset management. By allowing him to reach restricted free agency next summer, Utah maintains ultimate control over his destination while potentially creating a bidding war that could drive up his market value significantly. Tony Jones of The Athletic confirmed what many suspected. Utah isn't rushing to lock up Kessler long-term, despite his obvious talent and potential. This strategic patience suggests the Jazz believe they can either retain him at a reasonable price next summer or extract maximum value through trade if the right offer materializes before the deadline. The beauty of this position lies in Kessler's relatively low cap hold, which gives Utah flexibility to conduct other business during free agency before addressing his situation. They can pursue other targets, make roster adjustments, and then circle back to Kessler with whatever salary cap space remains available for his extension. However, this calculated risk also opens doors for aggressive franchises willing to pay premium prices for immediate acquisition rather than waiting for uncertain free agency battles. The Lakers represent exactly the type of win-now organization that might convince themselves that overpaying today beats potentially losing out tomorrow. ESPN's Dave McMenamin's reporting about the Lakers' previous interest in Kessler provides crucial context for understanding both teams' positions in potential future negotiations. The fact that Los Angeles inquired about him midway through last season only to balk at Utah's asking price of multiple first-round picks, establishes a clear baseline for what any future discussions might entail. The Lakers' pivot to Mark Williams, which ultimately fell through due to medical concerns, demonstrates their desperation to address interior defense while also highlighting their reluctance to meet Utah's premium pricing. This history suggests that any renewed pursuit would require either significant changes in Utah's demands or increased desperation from Los Angeles that makes the previously unpalatable price suddenly acceptable. Rob Pelinka's trade philosophy has consistently emphasized measured aggression, making bold moves when necessary while refusing to panic into franchise-damaging overpays. The Kessler situation represents a perfect test of that philosophy, as the player's talent clearly warrants serious consideration, while Utah's asking price demands careful evaluation of championship probability calculations. The medical concerns that derailed the Williams trade also demonstrate why teams sometimes prefer proven commodities over question marks when championship windows are limited. Kessler's clean injury history and established production make him a safer target than players with concerning medical evaluations, even if the acquisition cost proves significantly higher. Christopher Knox's analysis for Bleacher Report captures the essential tension facing the Lakers as they evaluate their championship timeline against asset preservation instincts. His suggestion that Utah's lack of long-term control might create opportunities reveals sophisticated understanding of how contract situations influence trade market dynamics. The restricted free agency angle provides Los Angeles with potential leverage that doesn't exist in typical trade scenarios. While Utah can match any offer next summer, the Lakers' projected cap space could allow them to structure deals that make matching financially painful or practically impossible for a rebuilding Jazz organization. Knox's emphasis on the historic nature of potentially delivering LeBron James a second Los Angeles championship adds emotional weight to analytical calculations. Sometimes championship pursuits require organizations to embrace calculated risks that might seem foolish in isolation, but make perfect sense within the context of generational talent timelines and legacy considerations. The suggestion that the Lakers should keep kicking the proverbial tires acknowledges both Kessler's value and the complexity of acquiring him at reasonable cost. This measured approach allows Los Angeles to maintain flexibility while positioning themselves for aggressive action if circumstances shift in their favor. The Lakers find themselves operating within the most unforgiving timeline in professional sports, the championship window of aging superstars who refuse to accept anything less than title contention. LeBron James and Luka Doncic represent generational talents whose remaining prime years create urgency that influences every roster construction decision. This urgency makes players like Kessler particularly valuable, as his age and trajectory suggest he could contribute immediately while maintaining effectiveness throughout any potential championship run. The Lakers can't afford to acquire short-term fixes that might help this season but become liabilities in subsequent playoff runs. The Ayton signing provides immediate interior presence while the team evaluates longer-term options, but championship teams typically require depth and versatility that single-player solutions rarely provide. Kessler represents the kind of complementary piece that could elevate the entire roster's defensive ceiling without requiring significant offensive responsibilities. Los Angeles faces a fundamental philosophical question that extends beyond Kessler's individual case. Do championship-caliber teams make bold moves when opportunities arise, or do they exercise patience and wait for more favorable circumstances? Both approaches carry significant risks and potential rewards that could define franchise trajectories. Waiting until next summer's free agency provides cost savings and negotiating flexibility, while risking the possibility that Kessler signs elsewhere or that Utah matches any reasonable offer. The Lakers' projected cap space gives them ammunition for aggressive pursuit, but restricted free agency battles often become expensive wars of attrition that benefit no one except player agents. Trading for Kessler now eliminates uncertainty while requiring immediate asset sacrifice that could limit future flexibility. The Lakers must weigh the guaranteed acquisition against the premium cost and potential opportunity costs of surrendering valuable draft assets. The championship math ultimately comes down to probability calculations that require honest assessment of how significantly Kessler's addition improves title odds versus the cost of acquisition. Sometimes the best trades are the ones teams don't make, but sometimes championship opportunities disappear because organizations fail to act when necessary. What's your gut feeling about this Lakers dilemma? Should they pull the trigger on Utah's asking price and go all in on Kessler's rim protection? Or is patience the smarter play with their championship core? Jump into the comments with your take and hit that like button if you're as intrigued by these high-stakes front office chess matches as we are, because decisions like this separate title winners from teams that always wonder what might have been